Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Rundown. I am your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
Nope, my name is Mike Piroworski, coming to you live from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most, from the co-host with the most. Here on The Rundown, 2A News and Conservative Views. And what day of the week is it, Craig?
Oh, that would be Taco Tuesday.
It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why. Just open your mouth and close your eyes. It's raining tacos. It's raining tacos out in the street. Tacos, all you can eat. Lettuce and shells, cheese and meat. It's raining tacos. Yum.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Taco Tuesday. Mike, I am looking forward today to some sliced beef tacos with using tri-tip.
Tri-tip, that's a big Western cut.
Yes.
You don't get that. That's not a very. You get to Texas maybe, but nothing east of the Mississippi. You don't see a lot of tri-tip. So.
Oh yeah, well it's a
good
biggie.
stuff.
It's a biggie out here, so it's nice. It can sometimes tend to be a little chewy, a little where the marbling is, but otherwise it is a fantastic cut of meat if properly prepared.
If properly prepared, you like everything else, right? Yeah. So,
well, there are some things that no matter how well you prepare it, it's not going to be good. Like no matter. Like, for example, you cannot make chicken salad out of chicken poop no matter how much mayonnaise you have.
Well, I mean, I never say never, but it's just, but yeah, I think I would tend to agree with you there. So, good stuff.
Very nice. So I'm trying to line myself up with you here. I don't know, my camera's just a wee bit off. Let's see if I can, there we go. Now I'm there. Now, don't scoot that far back. There you go. Now we are more in line. We are simpatico.
Okay. Hold on, I gotta move microphones.
Once again, folks, the joy of being both in front of and behind the camera at the same time. But hey, we have a good time.
But hey, you get you some good butt hay. That's the best there is.
How about yourself? Any special taco plans today?
I think I'm gonna go shrimp tacos tonight.
Gonna get you some of that shrimp.
Shrimp tacos with like a little limons, on it.
That sounds very festive.
Yeah. Yep, we do my best. Or Pop-Tarts, one or the other.
Pop-Tarts is, a breakfast taco, kind of.
I guess so. I mean, you could call it a breakfast pizza, right? A breakfast.
There you go.
Gordita. There you go.
Gordita. There you go. Well, hey, folks, just wanted to let you guys know, remind you guys, look, however you are watching us, however you are listening, please take a moment. First of all, if you haven't subscribed, please make sure you subscribe. And when you do, make sure you hit that notification button. That way you'll be notified as soon as we go live. And you can participate in the live chat as the program is taking place. But also what we want you to do, no matter how you're watching us, we want you to go ahead and encourage your friends to do the same. So share. Even if you're just listening to us, listening to the audio podcast version, please make sure to share so that, folks can enjoy the conversation the same way you enjoy the conversation.
Right. Yeah. Right. Share it. Share and like. Exactly.
Like, share, subscribe, or as Mike likes to say, every day except today, spread us around.
Pass us around.
Spread
us around sounds a little like something you would say in the gym. I don't know what that is. Pass us
I don't know
around.
what kind of gyms you go to. We don't spread around at the gyms that I go to.
It's a California gym. I figure there's plenty of spreading around. So.
Okay, well, hey, let's go ahead and let's get into today's topics, shall we? For those of you who do not know, and I realize I say that a lot, but today's election day. It's election day in Georgia. Now, you might recall back last year, there was a bill that was passed in Georgia that was deemed to be Jim Crow 2.0. That's right. It was the election law that was passed there in Georgia. where they basically said, yeah, this is going to keep all people of color, black people, from being able to vote. It's as bad as Jim Crow, when they, went after people with, firing hoses and dogs and all of that. And they had poll taxes and they had literacy tests and all that. All of those things were there and were there existing. And once again, people considered it to be Jim Crow 2.0. Well, first of all, let's talk a little bit about what they deemed it to be. And here's a quick snippet from a report from CBS News where they talk about the problems, quote unquote, with the bill.
President Biden again yesterday referred to Georgia's new voting laws as, quote, new Jim Crow laws when he was asked if the Masters golf tournament should move out of the state. Georgia lawmakers have continued to receive backlash for the new law that overhauls elections in the state. Many people say it disproportionately disenfranchises voters of color. The law cuts the time people have to request an absentee ballot, requires a photo ID to vote absentee, and limits drop box locations. A New York Times op-ed says Georgia's new voting law must be understood in its own historical context, saying, quote, if it's not Jim Crow, what is it? For more on this, I want to bring in Jamelle Bouie, the author of that article. He's a CBS News political analyst and opinion columnist at the New York Times. Jamelle, welcome. Great to see you again. So you say this new law in Georgia compares to Jim Crow. Why do you draw that distinction, and what has been the response to it from both Democrats and Republicans?
So I draw that distinction and make that comparison because Jim Crow wasn't a set of laws that said black people can't vote. What it was a set of restrictions and regulations on voting and on the ballot that, when overlapped together, ended up removing most African Americans and many low-income white Americans from the electorate in these states.
So what he's saying is that it would remove most people from the electorate from their ability to be able to vote. It would make voting, once again, much, much more difficult. Well, now, Mike, what we're finding out is that actually there in Georgia, they actually are on the verge. They've broken records in terms of early vote, meaning more people have voted in this election via absentee or via pre-voting than ever before. And this, once again, this is after MSNBC, CNN. We now saw the New York Times and CBS News all said that it was Jim Crow. It was going to keep people from being able to vote. So all I've got to say is, look, you said it was Jim Crow, but I guess it ain't so.
Yep. It's amazing, Craig. In fact, if you remember when they talked to Joe Biden about this, remember he tried to make a joke. He didn't call it Jim Crow. He called it Jim Eagle. Remember? He said it was Jim. This is more than Jim Crow. It's Jim Eagle.
Right.
And he clearly does not get what any of it means. But yeah, amazing, right? Here we have now a constant year of these laws were put forth to combat the cheating and the allegations of cheating that we saw in many jurisdictions by making the playing ground level, by making it even for all, by opening it up for everyone. And here it is proving itself on the first major voting day since these new laws have taken place, and it's record voting turnout. It's astounding. Let's see if there's any crow to be eaten, so to speak, right, by the Democrat Party here.
Well, I think that, though, where this is really going to harm them is going to be as we get closer to the general, when people start pointing to the fact that none of the stuff that they said the bill did, it did. None of the stuff that they did it actually do. Right.
Right.
I can't tell you the number of times, and you and I, we talked about this on the show ad nauseum, where I would debate. I've gone online, I've gone on TV, I've gone in publications, and I've debated people, and I've asked them, tell me exactly what the bill does that is Jim Crow-ish.
Yeah.
And they can't tell you because most of them never read the bill.
Correct. They cannot. Well, that's, again, the ignorance of the left, right? They don't need to know the facts. They just know they're right.
Right. And now we've got the results. And here's what I will tell you will wind up happening. The results won't matter. What all that matters is, what was the intent? And it's not even really what was the intent of the people who voted for the bill. It's What is their what do Democrats say the intent of the Republicans who supported this legislation? What was their intent? And that's all they're going to care about.
Yeah. Yeah. So once again, you know, I think you're right. Now that we get closer to Craig, once these first primary locations have success with the new laws, that's going to become a tool of the right during these last few months before the runoff for the general election in November.
Right. And it's basically the message is going to be, look, they're lying to you. They are seeking to promote fear and hate. Yeah. And I'm not even asking you to take our word for. We're not even asking you to take our word for it. Take a look at the results. You look at the results and judge us by our results. You're going to judge them by their words, but judge us by our results. And that's got to be the message. When we govern like conservatives, we win. We do well, and the country wins. That's why I get mad with Republicans when they start governing like liberals, or when they start getting all mealy-mouthed. No. Govern like a conservative. Govern according to the values that our party was founded on. And oh, by the way, guess what? The values that our nation was founded on. When you do that, we win. We do well, and we win.
Yeah, you're right.
Just saying. Just
simple as that. Simple as that. Simple as that.
Right. All right. Now, this was an interesting one. And you guys remember the National School Boards Association back last year actually had put in a request to the Department of Justice to investigate parents who were coming to school boards and were being, well, in some cases, less than civil. But in most cases, they were just holding school board members accountable for some of the stuff that they were doing, whether it was lockdowns, whether it was masks, whether it was vaccine mandates, or whether it was critical race theory or social justice theory or all of the queer theory, all of the other stuff that they've been pushing in schools. Because as we know, parents, once they had a chance to see what was going on in classes, because we were all sitting there in front of Zoom, parents got upset and they were like, look, you guys need to be accountable for doing your jobs. Anyway, so because they wanted to hold parents accountable, the national, let me take a step back. First, we find out that it was the White House and the Department of Justice that asked the School Boards Association to write this letter. Well, in an early draft of the letter, and this is something that not a lot of people heard about, but in the early draft of the letter, the National School Boards Association was actually requesting that the National Guard be sent to schools and do school districts, that federal police be sent to go after parents who were at school board meetings complaining about the work that they were doing. Now, Mike, I saw some things at some of these meetings that I'm like, okay, maybe that's a little over the top, but I didn't see anything that I thought would require the presence of the National Guard.
Well, because that's what we need, Craig, a trained, regular militia with full auto rifles and to defend the school board people from the truth, I guess. From the fear of having a parent say, I'm not letting you F with my kid this way, from parents that decide, I'm going to stand here in this base level political unit and say, you're not going to influence my child or do these things to my child without my permission. But you don't have the fortitude to stand up to them yourself. So you ask for the president to send you the National Guard. You, sir, need to take a ride on a train to a very far away place and get off and stay there at a different station, not in this country.
One has got to wonder, don't they? I'm a school board member, right? And I say this all the time, been a school board member. I'm in my 18th year sitting on a school board. And, here's the thing, parents, I'm glad to see you guys showing up. I wish you had shown up before, because the truth be told, the only time we really see parents at school board meetings is if we're either honoring their child or unless we've messed up. Well, here's the problem. You want to know how policies get to the point where we wind up where it's in national news and we've totally and completely and utterly messed up? And I say we because I'm just going to include myself with all school board members. It's because parents aren't there. It's because voters, for
That's
the
right.
most part, don't hold school board members accountable. Think about it. I'm going to ask yourself right now, who sits on your local school board? Can you name one person? Can you name two? Can you name the majority on the school board? No, most of you can't. And these are the people who are making decisions about who's going to be teaching your kid, about how prepared your child is going to be based on the quality of education they're going to be able to get, on the books they get to read in school or that will be assigned to them, right? These are the people who are doing this. So anyway, I say that to say that, if you guys want the school boards to do better, then you need to be better. And when I say be better, I mean be more involved. Get plugged in. And if you show up on a regular basis, then that will decrease the likelihood that the National Guard will show up when you do.
Just astounding that. Oh well, again, we'll use this military force to come in here and enforce the methods of the will of us, the elite, the politicians. Isn't that how we got in here, Craig? 250 years ago or so, because the king didn't like what the colonists had to say, so he brought in the army and said, "Here's what we're going to say. You got a problem with it?"
That's kind of how it's supposed to be, but not really. Hey, so it looks like we have a commenter. Gene Johnson says conservatives are usually working and helping others in some way. Conservatives trust others too easily, and the left knows this. Well, you know what, Gene, you are 100% correct. Conservatives are generally either working, taking care of their community, or they're working and they're taking care of, or they're working in or they're taking care of their family or their jobs or their church or whatever. And that's an important thing. But we also have to hold government accountable, because if we don't hold them accountable, there are people within government who will take advantage. Did you have a comment, Mike?
I think I'm there. I think I'm there with you.
Yeah.
I think it's time to just roll along. I think you're right.
Okay. Moving right along, our good friend, Mr. John Lott, over at the Crime Research I think it's Crime Research Institute.
It's crimeresearch.org.
Crime Research, yeah, he's over at crimeresearch.org. Put up a piece recently, and he's, we hear a lot of people talk about crime, about there's no such thing as a good guy with a gun. Well, not only are there such things as good guys with guns, but there are good guys with guns that have actually helped law enforcement officers. And what he wanted to do was he put together this piece that's really kind of outlining a number of different instances where a good guy with a gun, individuals legally possessing and owning a firearm publicly, actually didn't just defend themselves, but came to the defense of law enforcement. And you hear nationally about all of these incidences every time someone misuses a gun. But Mike, I'm looking at all these incidences. So here's got one here, a case in Maple Falls, Washington. This was back in February. Yep. He's got another incident here, Arizona from 2001, Tonopah, Arizona. Las Vegas, February 3rd, 2021. Fresno, March 24th. 2020. I mean, there's just a ton of instances here where he's once again identifying opportunities or places where law enforcement was aided by a good guy with a gun. Now, mind you, this is at a time when they're doing everything they can to fight against individuals being able to carry firearms in public.
Yeah, there are people out there that they're doubling down. They're saying, "Listen, we know law enforcement's under the gun, so to speak, right? We know that their funding's going away. We know that their agencies are not standing up for them. We know that there's other people out there based on their ridiculous, mandatory use of social media and everything they do that are going to stand by and allow things to occur rather than act to stop them." And Craig, and I look at that photo you just showed there on that front page. You have the one good guy in there with the gun helping the law enforcement officer. And yet there's some bystander there with a cell phone taking the video of it rather than helping out. But this is a great trend we're seeing of, I listen, I don't know if they're just basic gun owners, if they're former military, former law enforcement, or just people that want to save their own community and say, no, when they see a law enforcement in danger, they know that's a dangerhood to not just that officer, but to the community as a whole. And they've said enough is enough.
Yep. If you are, here's the thing, folks. If someone is willing to attack an officer of the law, right, they are willing to attack anyone, right? Meaning no one is really safe. It's incumbent. Once again, law enforcement can't be everywhere, but even in some cases when they are there, they're going to have instances where they're not going to be. They may or may not be able to handle the situation. So, being there, being trained and prepared, because yes, it's good that you have a firearm, but it's also good that you've taken the time to learn how to effectively utilize that firearm in those situations. But when you're there, you then become a part of the solution, right? Instead of with the guy with the camera who, I'm not going to say he's part of the problem, but he definitely is not part of the solution.
Yeah.
Although he is bringing,
absolutely.
I will say this, he is bringing to light an instance where, a civilian actually helped law enforcement.
Well, you're right. The civilian has helped law enforcement, and you have to watch out for, the nefarious people that might try and take advantage of those, either the civilians or the law enforcement. But this is what John Lott has put out. This is the trend, and if John Lott says it, you can take that. You can take that to the bank, Craig. Right? That's what he's talking about, and he's saying they're definitely on the rise of armed patriots, civilians, citizen defenders, stopping to aid law enforcement.
Yes, sirree, Bob. Yes, sirree, Bob. All right. Moving along to our next story. Netflix. Okay, Netflix is always, they've gone really kind of back and forth on stuff. We know that Netflix really got into a certain degree into the not just the employees there being woke and employees coming against some of their content that is less than woke. But at the same time, they also were putting a lot of woke material out there. A lot of their content was so whacked out and left that some people were just getting angry and frustrated and deciding, you know what, I'm never going to watch Netflix again. We're going to cancel Netflix. Well, Netflix, after everything that kind of went down with Dave Chappelle, and then you had Elon Musk, who basically told the employees at Netflix, look, you guys need to just, if you don't like it, then maybe you guys should just quit your job there. If you can't handle them putting out material that you don't like. Well, then Netflix comes out with a policy that basically said, look, our goal is to put out content that people want to see. And, we're going to be okay with putting out material that people may not like, or quite frankly, in some cases may offend people. And if you as an employee have a problem with that, well, then maybe Netflix isn't a good place for you. It basically said, if you got a problem with it, let the doorknob hit you where the good Lord split you. And now they've come out with another policy, which is interesting, and this has to do with some of their content. Basically what they've decided to do with some of their content is, now this is not all of their content, but some of the content that they had that were like on the woke scale, 9 and 10, they've actually decided that they are no longer going to put out that content. Now, some of the items that they had out here, let me go down here a little bit further and see. So the streaming service canceled the series featuring British Duchess Meghan Markle, which basically, like Piers Morgan said, look, they pretty much decided the British family, or at least those two in the British family, really didn't have anything substantive to say. They also went ahead and removed, where was it? Oh God, I saw it.
Sorry.
Looking for the material. Oh, Stamped. Racism, Anti-Racism in You. Okay.
Right.
With kind regards from kindergarten. That was another one that they were putting out. That was another one that they were going to be putting out. Oh, and Anti-Racist Baby, a cartoon called Anti-Racist Baby. And they are basically removing those, which I'm sure that there is still going to be plenty enough stuff on there if you are a conservative for you to be offended. But know that while they are also getting rid of some of that stuff, they're also protecting some of our content.
Yeah. 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 You know, so does this mean where they're again on the bottom of this issue, Craig? Because remember, like you mentioned with the Dave Chappelle thing, they were for it, they were against it, they were for it, they're against it. It's as if they can't find the backbone, right? They don't know which way they want to support. It seems as though they want to support whichever political party, whichever party's out there making these rules up, but that's what they want to support. They don't want to. They're unwilling to commit, right? Doesn't this seem like very, very wishy-washy to you?
Well, now keep in mind that they just announced that not only did they lose the most subscribers ever, but they're about to lose more subscribers, and they're projecting that they're not going to have the ability to produce as much material or the quality of material because they're going into a form of austerity or a time of austerity when it comes to producing some of their content. So what they have to do is they have to put stuff out that people want to see. And that's really what it is. And
That's
quite
the
frankly,
hardest part,
that's
right?
all it really ever should have been, was putting out stuff that people want to see. And if people don't like it, then you can tune in somewhere else. And if enough people tune in somewhere else, then they'll stop putting that out and they'll put something else out.
There you go. Yep.
It ain't rocket science.
That's what's happening, and that's what's happening to them. Figure it out. If you're going to stand up one way. Stop flip flopping, wavering, and figure out where you're going to go and make it happen. Otherwise, I ain't got no time for your nonsense.
Well, there was a poll that I saw recently, and I'll have to look it up, but it was like something like 75 or 80% of people basically said they wanted corporations out of politics.
Yeah.
And what they really meant was they're not necessarily saying they don't want them giving political contributions to one side or the other. What they're really saying is, we don't want we don't want politics in the product that you give us, right? I don't want jeans, Levi's going out there telling me that they're going to give millions of dollars to a group that wants to ban my right to keep and bear arms.
Right.
Right. Then I'm not going to buy that product anymore. I don't want to see Black Lives Matter on the floor during an NBA basketball game, because then I'm going to stop watching NBA.
Well, and a lot of people have, and a lot of people are feeling the pain from their wokeness. A lot of them have gone out of business completely as well.
Right, as well they should, because in many cases the products that we enjoy are an escape. Right, there's something that we want to enjoy, and when you start injecting visceral politics, I mean, when you start infecting everything that we do, then you know what? I won't want to do that. I'm just not going to do that. If that's what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And
very good.
the people are speaking with their wallets. As once again, as Mr. Gene Johnson has said, go broke, go woke, go broke.
Yep. Exactly right.
All right, let's move on to our parting shot. And this I'm going to say this one is Mike found this one, and I have to say, I would put this one in the top 10, if not the top 5 of all parting shots we've ever had. Would you agree?
Yeah, this, and this was a stumble across. Wow, this one is, pretty good. While we're looking in the usual honey holes, came across this one somewhere else. So I do believe this is what they call it. It's a top pocket one. It's got to go up here.
Let's put it to you this way. The Biden administration has been a series of firsts, would you say? Or not so much a series of firsts, just a recreation of many of the things that we've seen in other administrations. Does that kind of hint at what the meme is?
It says it nicely. Yeah, there you go.
It says it nicely. Okay, so here it is. By the way, can you do a Forrest Gump accent?
I think I can.
Okay, so I'll let you read this one. Let you do it in your best Forrest Gump accent.
All right. And just like that, Democrats brought back the 1918 pandemic, the 1929 depression, the 1968 race riots, and the 1973 gas lines all at the same time.
That's right. Forrest. It is a Forrest Gump's body with Joe Biden's head on it. And you know, the one thing I do have to note is Forrest Gump is much more articulate than than Joe Biden.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely, yep.
Oh,
Just like that. Yeah.
that right there, that one right there, that meme right there is a keeper. Is definitely a keeper.
It is a keeper. She's a keeper, Forrest.
All right,
Forrest
Mike.
Gump.
Hey, it's about that time. How about a quick shout out to our sponsors?
Let's say hello to them. Our good friends at Gorilla Machining, our good friends at Grid Defense, our good friends at USCombatGear.com, and of course, the California Republican Assembly.
Yes, folks, these are our sponsors. These are the folks who help make this happen. Hey, by the way, if you're a sponsor out there and you're interested in having your logo here, here's what you do. Just reach out to us. I'm on Facebook. Mike's on Facebook. You can message us at The Rundown there on Facebook. Hit us up and we'll talk about how we can help promote your product to our folks. Because we also do this. We don't just put your logo on here. We also put a link to your website in the description to our program. So people who get the podcast and who get the video podcast, they all can go directly there. They can take a look at what you have to offer. And if they like what you have, they'll kick down a little Skrilla. Now, to the folks who are out there who might be doing that, I want you to do us a favor. When you do that, make sure you tell them that the guys over at The Rundown sent you.
We with you. Be with us.
Be with us. And with that, it's about that time. We're going to call it a day. Remember, like, share, subscribe. Encourage your friends to do the same. And we'll see you tomorrow on Hump Day.